for the masjid. Before we start, is there any contribution anybody would like to make, or any questions that anyone might have, or any analysis, or any just general statements anyone might have? We'd asked a few days ago that everyone try to prepare something, and I know this is kind of not the time that we had planned it, but if there's anything, anybody that would like to contribute, or questions that they would like for me to answer, I'd be happy to do it, inshallah. If not, we will just get started. Oh, did you have? Okay. Well, no, that's okay. That's all right. Remember, we're on our own schedule. We're not on boss man's schedule that he say we got to do this by Friday. We got to. And that type of schedule, it has a lot to do with. It has a lot to do with contentment and tranquility and relaxation. But there's another side. The other side is that we're under attack like all our other allies. In Lebanon, somebody just blew up the whole area, and they got all kind of help ships there, but they happen to be from the Dutch Navy, from the British Navy, from the French Navy. You know, they just happen to, well, where's all your civilian help ships, right? Why you got all them Navy vessels there? In other words, and they just gave a verdict today from 15 years ago that Hariri, the prime minister at that time, who was a Christian, was blown up and 21 other people were killed. But they just, the court in The Hague, whoever it was, just said that no, Syria was not involved, Hezbollah was not involved, there's no direct connection. And then one person that might have been part of Hezbollah, most of the people were cleared, which they didn't have in prison anyway. And the one that they did say might have had something to do with it, he wasn't in no prison, and he was being tried in absentia. Our brothers in Yemen are being assaulted, and it's just not even, it's not comprehensible, because things that they have there are like cholera and what have you, and now this up-to-date coronavirus, plus bombings, plus hospitals, schools, all facilities, pumping facilities for water. Remember, Yemen is a desert. So if you don't have those pumping facilities and all that working, you're just about dry as a bone. And all of that is all right. That's all right, because there's allies of the U.S. In fact, I wonder where they get all the weapons from the United States and from Britain, of course. There's a big fitna going on with China. You're talking about paranoid. They are super paranoid of China. It's a little too late. They tried to break Iran. Haven't worked. Okay. Now we're talking about the good Iranians, not some of the ones that, well, even some of the ones that were here and went back were very good. Some of them, like you might have seen some of them around from time to time, they go back to Iran, they get on TV, they do whatever, and then they don't even mention us again. Not that they were inviting us every day down to Texas to do programs on Malcolm X and on the, I mean, this is recently. And they go back home, and that was the end of their assignment. One of them I even took to the little town where I was born to do, little background stuff. And jump on the plane, and head on out. It's all right for us, as we said, by not having a day-to-day, a minute-to-minute goal. In one way, it helps you relax and take it easy. But in another way, as we move into a different arena or elevate up to a higher level, we have to be, well, when I say goal-orientated, we've been goal-orientated from day one. You saw all the paperwork from the other day. We've been goal-orientated from day one. In fact, the good thing about what we went through the other day, most of it was from 1979, 1980, or March 23rd, 1980. That's when we opened the masjid in Oakland. And that come out of you could see the organizational structural background from that literature. That comes from the period of, let's call it design time in penitentiary. I voluntarily put myself in jail, maybe for a year or two, year and a half, then they brought me back for another year and a half later. But it didn't make a difference, it was all fine. I call that period wandering in the wilderness, but it was not wandering. Other people were wandering, trying to figure out what to do. I was sitting there just like now, going to the library, pulling books out and studying, talking to the people who was in jail then, movement people. How did y'all how was your arrest? How did it go? That started technically in Leavenworth or McNeil Island years earlier. But all of that time was design time. That was not wasted time. That was wonderful time. It might have been just like out here, because I wasn't in jail hoping I can go home tomorrow. I was in there because I knew what I was doing. I was there for. I was there to get things straight. From Nafs Samara, that stage was Nafs Lawama, when you become conscious. Nafs al-Mutmainna is satisfied soul, but remember at that stage, which was over 40 years ago, when you become conscious, that's exactly what happened. Becoming conscious don't mean that you're gonna win every fight. You know what I mean? You struggling with, our friend the shaitan, or their friend. And you don't win every, you don't win every fight. Sometimes, because you're conscious and you got to struggle with right and wrong. That's the human level. This is the human level. And so, if you know yourself, you say, boss man, you can put me back in jail. Now, people are not going to do that. They'll put them in jail for some other way or they'll cause themselves some problem. You know what I mean? That they'll wind up in jail, they'll lose their home. That's not what this was. That was design time, specific time. And when I came out with all of that stuff exactly in order, what we're going to do. All the lectures are prepared. Everything is ready to go. And we just hit the ground running. Now, during this period of time, and today's lecture deal with project management. Okay, project management is good, and that's the thing that project management, you have a goal, you have the things that you want to do, but usually there's a time limit in that. And we're moving into that time limit. Now, time limit produce a little, if you're not on schedule, you're a little, tensed up. But that's good for you. The other stage was good. During the stage of tussling with boss man doing this, boss man, and being totally contented. I mean, that's wonderful. But if you are right in the middle of all of this, if all of our friends are being assaulted, if all governmental officers are under the gun of the system, if we're under the gun of the system ourselves and been under the gun, it's just clear. Okay, now during this period of management, there's certain things that we want to do, and we should have time limits on this time. We want to do this in a certain amount of time. It ain't nobody's business what the time limit is. And then we evolve into it. But this is not like cognitive dissonance. That's two different ideas at the same time. But this is setting goals, and until you complete that goal, you're not super contented. Of course, you're contented because you're doing Allah's work. That don't leave. But what I'm talking about is you disturb your own organization, your own being by accountability. This self-accountability, that I'm accountable to myself. We're accountable to the movement. We're accountable to the organization. Some of the things during this period is you could call it confrontation. We will confront and discuss eventually with everybody basically everything. Like I said, some of my friends in California, when I go back, I'll just say, hey man, what does this mean? What did that mean? And what did you mean by this? What did you mean by that? And then I'll tell them too, something that they're my age and older. Some are just a pinch younger, but they full grown, so they've done many things in life, and they still overly respect the system. I have to convince them. One of my friends is a boxer. He was saying a few years ago, you got to be careful about taking too many headshots. You know what I mean? Because if you take a lot of headshots, like you remember Matthew Saad Muhammad years ago? He was good, Philadelphia. But that boy would lean out with his head, and you could bust his head wide open. You already knew he's not going to last long. He's good, but he's not going to be there long, because bam, bam, and he's going to be okay. So at this time, my friend, very good friend, for decades and decades, over 50, 60 years, good God Almighty, over 60 years, he's trying to convince me, because he's cooperated with the government for decades. Okay? So, cooperate with the government don't mean like they'll just dump you over the side of the building and throw garbage on you, you know, but they respect the government. And they don't think the government can lose. You know, they don't think that. They don't believe that. They don't believe that. That's their business. So, man, you might be taking too many headshots. And I have to explain to them, this is psychological guerrilla warfare. I can't take any headshots. I'm giving them headshots. In other words, headshots mean that the psychological damage and all that. And I'm just talking to them. No, I said, oh no, it ain't none of that. I say, you just keep your eye open and you'll see. And I've talked to him and a few more friends on a pretty serious basis. But this is a different time. Look, here's where we're going with this right here. It's not only legalization of drugs. Why legalization of drugs? Because from the day one, drugs have been used as a probable cause to invade our community, to take laws away, to do all of that. That's what, and definitely destroyed the black community. We gave the number, and this is kind of a across the board number, all the books and literature and the historical accounts and legal, that talks about 80% of the crime is either drug related, either drugs or drug related, which is basically true. You can see it. Back in the old days, they didn't have that many penitentiaries or many, because there was nothing that many people could do to go to jail. They didn't need that many judges. They didn't need that many prisons. They didn't need those many things. So what they did was, when they started the assault with drugs on our community, I was in the front seat right there. 1966, I was right there. Okay, those people are the ones that turned me on to drugs, dealing for the community. It just started with marijuana. It was no big deal, just nice and everything. But I was a natural businessman. So I evolved. And if you start off selling toothpaste, when you get into soap and all that, you take it over because you already got the game, the structure, the organization. And so now you want to be into smelling salts and all that, you just take that over too. That's the way it was with marijuana, with crystal meth, just a little bit of here and there, and other things, cocaine. You get big, you get the structure, you get the organization, and you get the ability. Okay, at the same time, we carried everybody along with us. And not only that, but we brought a whole crew of people that became wealthy too. This is what East Oakland Enterprises was about. But the beautiful thing about that was money circulated in the black community. And that's what built Oakland up, Oakland. You could hear almost why is Oakland such a small town? And hell, everything, even Kamala Harris is from Oakland. Right, you wonder, wait a minute, what the heck?
Everybody goes to Berkeley.
Yeah, they go to Berkeley, then they go to, but see, remember, we talked about that triangle of history. The white kids go to San Francisco, wear some flowers in your hair. The hippie movement, the white kids movement was headquartered in San Francisco. You go there, wear some flowers in your hair. The educated crew of the same mentality and everything, the white kids over at Berkeley. Berkeley is right across the bay. You just go across the bay, you hit Oakland, but you go down another 2 miles and you turn right and you go into Berkeley. And then you have Oakland, the center of black nationalism at that time. Can you imagine? That's what made the Bay Area so deadly. It means like New York was not the center of the white kids movement. They had SDS and all of them back here, but the center was out there in San Francisco. Even remnants of them, Symbionese Liberation Army and all that. Do you remember Symbionese, Patty Hearst and them? Yeah. Changed the name to Tanya. All the funny stuff was coming out of there, and good stuff. We come out of that. Not only we come out of that, but remember, I don't care what color they are, whether it's the white kids, whether it's the Negroes, whoever it is, they done all retired. All of them people done retired from all over America. Now imagine here we are, then inherited all of that and then sat down and put it together and then this evolution, this psychoevolution or psychological evolution is big because the war, that when they hit us, They hit us with everything. Physical attacks, psychological attacks, writing letters to different guys, people getting in the movement, talking about soul brother. You could tell the letters were, yeah, soul brother, so and all that. And then it's a miracle. I don't care what nobody think. I know we're a miracle. And not to be mad and to evolve. About 10 years ago, we was talking about Mandelaism, but we didn't evolve above Mandelaism. And he was peace and love, after all the white folks that did to them. We didn't evolve above that. Just like evolving above King and above Malcolm, it's time, it's contact. None of those people had the time to make all those contacts. And none of the people had the time to evolve where they involved over decade after decade after decade with governmental people, NGOs, non-governmental organizations, political parties, and you see how they all come, how they all go, and where did they come from in the first place. After a while, you get Allah give you a certain insight. So this psychological evolution was big. Why? Because the government used psychological, warfare on all of us. And nobody survived it. Okay, it's easy for me to talk now. If this was back in those days, I was doing pretty good, but I was juiced up like everybody else. When the white man would come by and I got a house full of dope, I'd get paranoid, like I'm supposed to, right? And when I'm in South America, they used to, when they want to get rid of you, it's time to move to another city or something, they start doing stuff. So on my daily walks up in the hills, man, it was so peaceful. There was a little stream up in the hills that they'd have a little trout in them sometime. And when I'd first, at some of the stream, the water would be, real shallow, So at first the fish used to scurry away. And I came there so often every day that pretty soon they didn't scurry away, Maybe they thought I was a bear, but a peaceful bear, and I wasn't going to eat them. Whatever it was, they got used to it. But you got to imagine there's paranoia in the environment. And I'm going up to a hilly tree, forest, where that kind of environment is, So every day, boss man don't know what you're doing, but you're getting rejuvenated every day. You're getting revived. You're getting, normalized. Because boss man figure out it after a while. And then the Oakland Hills, man, even when I go there now, that's like a refuge. When I go up there, I don't even have to go a block. I'm already, It's like you've seen a comedy show so many times that you start laughing as soon as it come on. Right? As soon as they show the credits, you start laughing. That's what happened. I was watching Amos and Andy not long ago. My friend had the whole Amos and Andy thing from 1951 all the way up, probably 53. So when they'd show the credits, I'd start laughing. This is like recently. I started laughing because I already know I done seen every one of them. So it don't make no difference which one it is. I'm already laughing. It's like you're prepared for something. This movement that we're a part of, Allah prepared somebody or something for this, and they come out all right. Just coming out is one thing, surviving is one thing, but coming out all right. Coming out all right where Some people you go to is involved in the movement, hey man, da 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 da. No, man, I had enough. You know, some people just say, I'm done. They're good people, I'm done. You know, it's not worth it, I don't like it anymore. Anything. Some people last 5 years, some people last 10 years. But beyond that, when you get way up into 20 years, you're getting into, the air gets rarefied up there. And when you talk about 40 or 50 years, you may be up there by yourself. You may be up there by yourself. And it's clear from looking around. It's a simple question. Where is everybody, right? Where, right? Is it accidental that in everybody's, they sin, they do what they're told. So the imams up in New York, they told, okay, we're going to drop this guy down. This could have been 50 years ago, almost 40 years ago. And they come right in and do their job. They don't have any, and they do it with vigor. Working for Boss Man, they do it with vigor, like this is a great job. You know, but there's something to remember though. Everybody's a human being. And you keep surviving so long, pretty soon, believe it or not, you can affect Negroes. Real born and bred coons, you can affect them. They're human. They're human, and pretty soon, your focus might be not only educating the public, but educating the coons. Like, they all know they're coons, they're sitting right at the table. I mean, you could almost hear them talking when they're talking about you. I mean, you don't technically hear them, but you see who they, you know, you can tell that, yeah, they just mess with so-and-so, he just messed with this crew or that crew. Because they smell the same. They, you know what I mean? They have characteristics that they don't know, but you know. That's something that's different. You hang around long enough, and people have characteristics that they don't know. I had to tell people, it was 10, 15 years ago, about the senior snitch. In a group, I don't know if you remember me talking about the senior snitch. The senior snitch is like if it's a group of us together, right? Right. The people are not, unless they didn't cleared everything with each other, the senior snitch is going to direct the dialogue and the flow, right? And then everybody else going to tune in on that. And they're gonna, the senior snitch will be visible to you. You're looking right at them. And then one time you might say, hey, would y'all like to do this, that, other? And then everybody will look at, they don't know what they're doing. They look at the senior snitch. They do. They look at, they all, and I'm not gonna say, I told y'all was talented. I told you I've been knowing this for a long time. I got everybody's name ready. No, you don't do that. Look, this is the funny thing. This is a new territory. We're cutting a whole new trail. Nobody, I don't care how silly it looked, nobody has been here before. You haven't, tell the truth. Have you read anything about anybody, any group, any movement have been where we are? They just haven't been here. We're blazing a whole new trail. You talking about As-Sabiqun? We're As-Sabiqun par excellence. We're talking about Star Trek going somewhere, that's movie. But we actually blazing a new trail. Nobody, but we have to, because nobody, who wants to go to well, everybody want to go to New Worldism, designed future, all of that stuff. They had the chance to do it the other day. but they're not prepared for it. Right? The people, that's why we was just going out. We just going out. We just like going fishing. Let's go out and see what the people are doing. That's why we wasn't in no big deal. People do it. We'd all just say, remember the white boy that was friendly with us? Now he gonna fight the police. We didn't say, white boy, this is that. You was acting friendly with us. We said, that go home, boy. Why? Because we knew it all the time. We just knew it all the time. And they had to stop because it was, this is round number 3. They just grabbed the Negro and then one threw a bottle over there. Round number 1, rang the bell. Now this is round number 2. You're talking, and this is a wrestling match. This is not a, you know what I mean? This is not real boxing. We call in the rounds like, and here comes so-and-so, and he got the police got him in an airplane, spinning him around, and then gonna throw him on the ground. They ain't gonna hurt him, but he gonna, that's a gift from God. That's made up, and we know it's made up, and we're gonna act like it's made up. Look, so many people have encouraged us to be violent and to be mad. I said, no, we ain't gonna do that. Because the Quran tells you cover your brother's faults, right? Everybody started out innocently. Nobody said, I want to get me a job and I want to make sure niggas don't get nowhere. No, but they just joined this department, that department, and whatever department you go in, if you colored, they're going to put you on the colored detail. That's right? They're not going to put you, like when you get up to Attorney General, they might put you on a couple of white folks, but because since white folks can't come over here, Israelis can't come over here. And we only had a couple of programs where Israelis themselves came, and that was in Oakland. Psychological guerrilla warfare. One of those two. Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychology. Boy, the Jews, they didn't stay. They came physically. And they reported, you could tell they reported the next day, and that means we won. We won. Can you imagine? If you looked on our name, you've seen some places where they had put whole articles about us. And the articles, sometimes, they was almost word for word our flyer, right? And right now, we can only put out what, they got you blocked in, so don't worry, we got it covered. We did it then, and now we're going to do it again, except on a bigger level. They don't know what we're going to do, and half the time, neither do we. But we got the pattern, you know what I mean? So the opportunity will present itself. So let me get back to the subject about the drug war and how it's related to black people and reparations. What we plan to do, and we're going to get somewhere along the way. They're talking about the other reparations. That's a little far back. But if we can pull this off, remember, 65% of the people agree, and that's just now, that the government and the historical process in America has been bad for black people. Everybody agree on that. Well, 65, that's what they say. I think they're lying. Almost anybody got enough sense to know, included in that is the drug thing. Now, what we want to do is we want to they got 80% of the people in prison for drug or drug-related. Okay, maybe they won't let the ones that did gangland murders and out, but say 75, 65% of them, right? We're going to try to get them out and reparations. Why? Because they're victims. Everybody knows the society did that now. You see what I mean? Everybody knows the society did that. The white folks know it. Everybody know that, okay, it ain't going to take a whole lot of convincing, right, to prove that the government did that. They knowingly did it to a people who were not prone to, well, they could have been prone to do it, but they wasn't seeking it out. Conspiracy is when you get somebody to do something that they wasn't inclined to do already. You conspired the government. Entrapment. At least that's old entrapment. Now new entrapment, boy, they can do anything. No, the Patriot Act, shoot, they can do anything they want. And off to jail you go. Well, they entrap me. Yeah, they entrapment now. You talking about the old entrapment when they had to come and trick you into doing something that you wasn't thinking about doing. But now, to the original thing, 65% of the people, 70% of the people, if possible, 80%. This is a comprehensive, system-wide counteroffensive that we're starting from here. When we talk about it, that means that's when we clarify the issue, that's when the thing starts. So we've been way off into this already. So this is from a legal, historical, epic, political, the whole, that whole counter-constitutional approach for black people. You're not part of the Constitution. That's not going to be hard to, okay. The administration patterns of misbehavior. Remember we read the thing about the 13th Amendment, about penitentiary. Everybody is free to go and do what they want unless you get, charged and what have you. Think about not only the North, but think about the South, the old chain gangs and all that. And in the city, you can get arrested for vagrancy, drunkard, you wind up on a chain gang. So instead of letting you lay around in the street, they gobble you up and put you on the chain gang to do work, hard labor. So the man that got somebody picking cotton, this is a big farmer. In those days, every little town, a medium-sized town, was controlled by a big white man. And there's a whole group of white men under him. In my town, it was Ben Word. He owned the gin, he owned this, that. In fact, they still got, and that whole crew under him, W.W. West and all them people, those people control the town. And if they needed somebody to pick cotton or to do that type of work, if they don't have enough Negroes that are there ready and willing to work, to chop cotton, to pick cotton, and all that stuff they did, well, they can, over to the county farm or the chain gang, they come in, they give 50 cents a day, so the sheriff might get 25 cents a day, and the other 25%, 20 cents, 25 cents, could go anywhere. But it's the sheriff gonna get his share, and me and you to do all the work, we're not gonna get anything. Those are patterns of behavior institutionalized throughout the South. And it wasn't that much different up north, because in the old days, even in the North and the West, you did certain work. You made license plates, you made clothes in the penitentiary factories. Imagine you got people in the factory and they making, okay, modern times, cable factory in the federal pen. Those missiles that go, in the old days, they was made, the cables that go, all of them made in cable factory. And they paid the brothers grade number 1. This started in '73. It was $1 something an hour. In '73, that was a nice piece of money because the Latinos that worked and sent money home, they, with overtime, they went down to the factory just like a regular job, and they might bring home $300. You go back to the early '70s now. $300 a month was big money for them. Yes.
Then, did you have to pay for everything, like phone calls and,
Okay, you didn't get a whole lot of, you didn't get like phone calls. There was phone calls was like, you signed a thing and you might get 1 phone call a month. It wasn't phones in the thing where you just call all day long and waste up all your money.
it seems like now, well, not seems like, in the penitentiary now, everything costs. You have to pay for
Everything.
everything.
It's so bad, like, you know, they said that they're gonna do away with these CCS, Correctional Services of America, which all the wardens from the regular old penitentiaries got stock in all them penitentiaries. They do. They help build. Now imagine in the penitentiary, all them jails like Ali and them was in, these new jails, you get 1 roll of toilet paper a month or something stupid like that. Food, the food is prepared outside and brought that from some little contract. Now, that means the less food you get, the more money they're gonna make. The lower quality of food you get, the more money they're gonna make. Then the educational programs. I went to college in the penitentiary. And you just sign a paper, you get a grant automatically from, you know. I mean, I was a 3.8 student, sometimes 4. I mean, I went to college. I didn't go to college. I ain't never went to, well, that's not right. I went to classes out here, you know, where you monitor. They used to, I don't know if they even do that no more. Allow you to monitor classes. That means you're taking the classes, you don't get a grade, but you get all the stuff to go, you know, now to me, I did that at Berkeley. I did that at Berkeley a lot. I monitored class. I took classes, Dr. Algar's class, you know, I took the Arabic class, you know what I mean? I took all those classes. Since the professors was friends of mine, you just sit in and you get all the, you know, you get the whole show. You just don't get credit for it, which I didn't want. I did not want no credit. Anyway, so the prisons in those days, you got everything. You're talking about the good old days. Good God Almighty. Hey man, and in the federal system, and in the federal jails, they got the food is prepared outside. The prisons still have kitchen crews, you know, the old time prisons. But that means you get a chance to cook your own food, and you know what I mean, and you know that. But in the federal prison and in the state prisons now, you have to pay for almost everything. You don't get nothing free like. toothpaste and all that stuff, you had to pay for all of that. You used to get all them packages and stuff. That was all free. It was part of the thing. Okay, in the meantime, we want to move toward reparations for those 80% crime-related drug war. That's what we're working on right now. Okay. Now, technically, we thank the system. So we call it a system. We thank you for your counter joint comprehensive plan of action. But we have Negro on the world stage now. This is our chance. Technically, we're on the world stage. They can't say it's not true because we know from the Zionists know who we are, and we're in their publications. The Iranians trying to play like we don't exist, but everybody that went back, you know what I mean, went back and now they involved in the Iranian TV and radio. And they know where we're coming from. Just because they don't say nothing, it doesn't mean anything to us. Because remember, we didn't do anything for wealth, for popularity, and what have you. That's the difference. I have a friend, not a friend, an acquaintance. Abdul Malik always thought that eventually I was going to crack, or because he thought maybe I was holding out for a bigger piece of the American pie, because he'd never seen anybody do anything like for real. He come out of a whole class of people that were like police officers that there are certain things that will almost guarantee you a recruitment. If the test that they give you, signifies that your self-image is not quite balanced right, and you need the authority that they give you. That's why police shoot so many people. That's why the police, the little fat guy out there, the detective, when they, I am the police. I said, I don't care who you are. Take that badge off and I'll whoop your black ass out here. That's what I was telling the police. Tufel was here. It was when the police surrounded the place and they was pretending like they was looking for somebody, probable cause. They used to do that a lot here. A guy would run in the parking lot, park the car, and then run downstairs when they were working, downstairs 4481. So the police could come in there just to make me upset about it. Because it's hot pursuit. Hot pursuit means I don't have to have probable cause to come in your building, on your property. So I look around one time as police coming from the side of the house over there. I said, what the hell? It's a white boy with his badge. What you doing? Well, we're hot pursuit. I said, hot pursuit, my behind. You got to get off of it. Don't come here with that mess. One time a month's one thing, but every other day, you got to pack that hot pursuit and get away from here. And the Negro, what you talking about? I am the police. I don't care who you are. Little rubber-faced joker, who are you talking to? But that I am the police. They get their authority, that's their authority. They can't tell their girlfriend, I am the police. This nigga, you're just a fool. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? I am the police. But me and you, I am the police, right? And if you don't cooperate, they'll shoot you. And when I went to jail last time in D.C., man, those nice young college grads, U.S. Marshals, when they saw what was going on, they wanted to say something, but they couldn't. This little old short white marshal, I do this. I said, man, you must be crazy. So they move on you fast. And they had me gaffled all up. I said, ain't no big deal, all handcuffed. And then the brothers in the cell are talking about, Imam Musa, Imam Musa. Everybody know what's going on, you know. Don't do that, don't. I said, that little old punk, ain't nobody scared of that little old punk. He need anger management or something. This little old fool. And then I would look at the college grads, you know, the frat brothers and sisters. No, they had enough education to know that what that marshal was doing was illegal. It was inhumane. And he don't have a right to do what he did or what he was doing. And definitely all the older black marshals down there at the D.C. jail, they already know. They ease by after you've been handcuffed and everything for about an hour or two, you know. And you can call them and say, hey, boss man, you know, got a little age going and, you know, you're handcuffed behind. So starting to feel it a little here, a little bit closer, you know. Wow, they look around and they, you know, loose, since you're in the cell already, you know, they take the belt off and they, you know. But all of that stuff comes from people who need the power of the system to give them authority, because they don't have it themselves. And the people that don't need it, that are just nice young people, graduated, half of them probably come from Howard over there, or somewhere. You could tell they're college grads, literally every one of them. And U.S. Marshal, it's not bad. It's for, you know, a salary. And that's what they wanted. They wanted to work for the government. Once you get in the government, unless you just go crazy, they can't get rid of you no more, right? Don't they have to have all kind of, they got to have the board of directors and the chief of this and that. They got to, and, you know, the unions and all that, you know. Anyway, let me speed up. That's the way Abdul Malik is, was, and still is. And even when they see that something is different, they still hold on to it. Like I got a call the other day. Remember I was telling you I want a call from somewhere, and I got that call. Not called yesterday, called back, you know. And well, I'm not going to talk about it a whole lot no more, because if somebody responds the way you demand it, then you don't want to put everybody's business in the street. You know what I mean? They deserve that. But you could hear Abdul Malik in the background. Not hear him, but the way things are stated. So I said, well, I made a promise. I said I was going to do this and that. But dog, I said, man, the people don't never quit. They don't you know, nobody's asking for a surrender, white flag, and all. They're just saying, hey, man, just, anyway, we're in a good position. We couldn't ask for a better position. I mean, based on who we are and what we're doing. If you think somebody can make fun of the white system and get away with it, please just lead me to their house. I want to move in with them. I'm studying this. I don't see it anywhere. That's what we're doing. Okay, that's a wonderful job. Who could ask for a better job? You know, you get a chance to be an inspiration to people and you not mad, and they can't make you mad. You know, like the dummies, they call, if they call now, I just see who it is, I don't want to talk to them now. And they'll get mad, you know, when you call somebody and you don't answer, they get madder and madder. You know, no, I ain't gonna answer, you know, I'll answer tomorrow. You know, or I won't answer, you know. And I'm not gonna cut them off the phone. You know, they got a cut off. You can't call me no more. I don't want you to call anymore. Zoop, just like that, right? I keep it open. Come on, call, let me see what you're up to. Because we're in charge of this thing right now. This is, what did we call it last week? When the rabbit got the gun. What do the hunter do when the rabbit got the gun? Right? Okay. That's us. Okay. I want to talk about a couple of more things. I had mentioned to both of y'all about maybe soon a propaganda video. You know, we could just discuss and each of y'all make a video or whatever. We could discuss where we want to go with it. Because we're going to make a video here ourselves. Like, in fact, anytime you want all the cars out there, you know, to take pictures of all of those cars out there. And then we're going to make a flyer. A flyer is for people around here. You know, the flyer will explain who we are, what we're doing, and we will also list all our websites and stuff like that where they can punch in and they say, hey, this is true what the guy is saying. Now, you know, the white man's website's gonna lie. But when we put down the truth, see, we have to explain simple things like we've been here for so many years, we moved here for certain reasons, and of course all of y'all would remember our school, you know what I mean, and how well, and they could check anywhere they want. That Marshall Islam group homeschool, why it got 5 stars, right? Okay, they can check all that. So what it is, you know, you could take a picture of that truck down there that's full of stuff that he left right by my house. There's a truck down there. Okay. Yeah. Now, there's a truck down all the way down there too? There's a truck, you know right where the drainage ditch is? Yeah, there's a truck down there full of garbage like that. Y'all didn't see the truck? It's been there parked there all the time. Well, when you leave, just check it out. What I mean is, here's what we're going to do. It's simple. Just going to make, ain't nobody did nothing. Ain't nobody in there. Okay. No, but we're going to explain even who they were in brief. Remember, we're going to make a flyer to go with it. We'll have a picture flyer. It won't be any more than 4 pages, but it'll be comprehensive enough and simple enough to explain to our neighbors who we are and what we've been doing, and they'll be able to see it. See, we want them to know that I know y'all seen how many cars we've had over a period of time, because some we sold, some we kept, and that's what those cars are. Those cars are out there and they're sabotaged, right? And da-da-da-da-da, on and on and on. So it's just simple. We're going to get the value, and we're going to reintroduce ourselves to our neighborhood. Now, all of our people up the hill, they're all, basically everybody right up the hill, they're all our friends. And they used to see, because Brother Tufel used to take the kids out, and they would run up the hill 2 at a time or something, and they had a physical fitness pro. He had them in pretty good shape, looked like, right? Yeah, them kids was rolling, you know. And then, you know, like how they are, but they class, PD, physical training, is coming up, and they be gold bricking and trying to get out of the class, stuff like that. But they did good. So we'll explain, just in brief, it's not a long-winded stuff, the sabotage of our community, and this is what, and then explain to the people who we are. And very briefly, that we plan to stay here, and this is some of our goals. And this is what we've done already. So we're going to explain to our environment. Now, we may not get but 50 or 100 of them made, because remember, it's just for the people around that can see, Generally, the people that we try to serve food to, that type of thing. All right. Then after coronavirus, we'll get back to food, inshallah. I'll talk later on about our house in California, because the house in California has been thoroughly trashed. It looks like, it makes Fred Sanford's place look like really, y'all may not know who that was, but really modern and up to date. Fred Sanford's joint. Red Fox, the junkyard man. Yeah, I know you remember. But yeah, Fred Sanford, yeah, just go on. Yeah, Fred Sanford. Yeah, okay, yeah, I was wondering, okay, anyway. So, now, like we got the thing with the youngsters, with the auto place, which we got our stuff, we'll just move into that as time passes. But I'm going to talk to my family just like I'm going to talk to my friends, and I'm going to lay out all this stuff that they've been doing, and I know they've been doing, and And technically, my family is not too bad, because they, you know what I mean, well, family always gonna drop a little something and play like they didn't say it or something, so it's no problem. So they're not bad at all. So, but they gotta fix up my property, and maybe 2 years back rent, and what else? Maybe 25 or 30,000, because they messed up. They broke in so many times, and in the place in the back, and they couldn't break in that place in the back unless somebody let them in, because you got to go through a gate that makes noise, and you know what I mean, and you can't. Anyway, it's a long story. And the stuff they took from here, I took 7 volumes of Quranic tafsir, the ones that. And then the other volumes of Quranic tafsir, and only the government know to take those from you. And it was really a nice office. We had a duplicate machine there. We had whole boxes of As-Sabiqun, literature. And we could just pull out this one and go out and pass it out. It was my office. And they just raided it, that's all. And they would do other stuff there too. But they get the same chance that the card guy gets. They can fix it up, and then, Well, they don't have to do nothing. Technically, it don't have anything to do with our policy, what we're gonna do. But if they want to, they can go on and do it. That's what our demand is. As far as this there's a complete remodeling of the whole infrastructure that we're talking about our property here, property there, everything. And this property right here, we might have or we not might have. But if things go right from the telephone conversations, we might have to upgrade that in a hurry so we could move somebody in there, you know what I mean, and what have you. Now, moving somebody in, man, we're in a different period. So, especially financial period. So we might have to postpone the moving in type thing until we go to South Africa. We've been threatening South Africa all along. But South Africa is a sure thing for fundraising. It's a sure thing. I mean, we can stay there as long as we want. We can do what we want. At least that was then. That don't mean that they won't get the message from boss man and say, hey, well, you gotta go. But at least we'll get an open message. Hey, you gotta go. You're persona non grata, you know, and what have you. But they did that once. They run me through the search and this detail and that detail, and I told them it was an African and it was a white man at customs. So he went through all his changes, and to the brother I gave him lectures of Malcolm X, and I had enough stuff to show him. I said, yeah, y'all apartheid, and it was close enough to that time that, you know, we was with y'all, and we here to do this, that, and other. Then when the white man is about to finish it up, I said, just a minute, homeboy. I said, you searched my property, but you haven't searched me. I said, so you was just hassling me. So you know the protocol? I said, yeah, that's the protocol. The protocol is, your customs, you're gonna just run your mouth and go through all of my stuff, right? And take me out of the line and do all of that. And you done searched everything, but you haven't searched me. So I was just telling him, I know what this is. If you was really meant something, you would search me first. Yeah, you gotta search me first. But anyway, let me try to speed up. Let me go back to the 13th Amendment for a minute, back to the drug war. Part of this whole package is redemption and reparation for the last 60 years of their behavior, 50-something years. So that's part of what we're about. That's part of why we're doing what we're doing. And what we've always talked about, whatever happened, we are already an example, a model of behavior. There's no Negro organization that have survived as long as we can with no scandal. Got to remember, no scandal. At least not with me. No scandal, no money, no girls, no nothing. Impossible. They don't make Negroes like that. They don't even believe it. Even people now, some of the people watching it, I don't believe it. Something has got to be going on. Negroes are not made like that. And we done run them all by here. Every kind, I'm telling you, I think I mentioned this some. I was running on the trail, white man with a crew cut with a nice looking young white lady. And she got the shorts on, right, with no underwear under them boys. She runs right up, they pass me down. And she run right in front of me, up far enough, and bent over and crossed her legs and bent over. And I said, well, that's about the nicest vagina. I said, they must have had a vagina viewing contest. That was one of the nicest vaginas I've ever seen. I mean, really, I've seen a few. And it had a visual, And I just run right on around, kept on going. I mean, all kind of, I'd be here 1,000 years. And they know what they're doing, right? It haven't worked. And they have white women calling the masjid at 12 o'clock at night when it's pouring down rain. And that's said to be a psychological, not a mysterious time, but you want to do something slippery. It's midnight and it's pouring down rain. You know what I mean? This is the way niggas think, right? And I said, lady, I'm not coming by and picking you up and taking you nowhere at all. Forget it. Is this thing on? Yes, on. Anyway, let me speed up. They don't believe it. No scandal. Now, they have scandal, and no scandal on me. That's a miracle. No running off with nobody's wife, girlfriend, or money. Anything they talk about, well, he's a big shot my behind. Over there where you live, we moved from there so somebody else could move in, and we moved in that office back there. I moved my whole family back there. It was my granddaughter, my daughter. Fatima wasn't born yet. Sakina's back there. And we lived right back there. The office part, the big part, is 18 by 11. And you got to go upstairs, so that cuts off about 4 feet. You know what I mean? So that means you just living in that part over there. We lived there. Why? Till we bought the property next door. Somebody already living here. And we remodeled that place over there. This is the third remodeling. We remodeled it. It must have been about $15,000-$20,000 at least. And we lived downstairs. Downstairs. Abdul Jalil and them lived upstairs. We lived downstairs. Why? So we could make sure that the community is stable. The income is stable. If anybody ever mentions that we was doing something for money, it's basically stupid. And everybody knows this is stupid. There's no calculator that can calculate, because no leader is going to live downstairs, right, instead of living upstairs, right? No leader is going to live in an office. They're not going to do that. Right? They're not going to do that. They're just not going to do that. So, but anybody that signed on for that type of, that was part of the thing. If somebody wanted to get married, well, getting married means that you're not doing this for anything like that. And people have to mention, maybe sometime in the future we may get a house, That maybe so, you never know. But it ain't gonna be now. In other words, everybody's gonna get theirs first. Now, if anybody wants proof of anything, that everybody else gets theirs first and you put yourself at the end of the line, all they gotta do is look. Anyway, now let's speed up a little bit. So this infrastructure that we're talking about, project management, means that right now we're going to put out a flyer and what have you about our cars and all, and property, all that stuff. But at the same time, anybody that wants to adopt a car, because they say, you're going to fix the car? I ain't fixing nothing. I'm not fixing no car. I'm not going to drive any car today and it runs perfect. And you get in it the next day and can't get it off the thing, we have to park it over there. When we push back around, the car runs perfect. I know it's perfect. We done had cars out on the highway, zoop, stop. Only reason we didn't leave those because we're right here. There's no sense of leaving it, but if it had been out on the highway a ways, I just walked away and left it. Just like the police jumped behind me going down Central, out by that donut place, whatever it was. Not that I was getting no donuts, but I just happened to pull in there. Krispy Kreme. Yeah, I don't care nothing about no Krispy Kreme. Never have. And so, zzz, and they just put the car up on the thing and towed it away. When they come in specifically for that, because just like I mentioned, they towed a car away before from these roadblocks around here. I don't know if I mentioned it. Roadblocks. When I mentioned to one of our senior snitches years ago, that car license plate does not belong on that car. And it was like, that's against the law. He didn't say it's against the law. Next thing I know, the police is buzzing around. And because you know how people, you could tell a flatfoot, old-time flatfoot, because even if they have children like sons and they break the law, they won't go see them in the pen. They won't go see them. They won't, you're breaking the law. I mean, they serious about it. They ain't running around here breaking the law. So you go to jail, you're there for yourself. Now, of course, I give people a few dollars when they get out of the pen. But they don't start cooperating until they reach a certain stage, like they're going to get a federal job or something, driving a trolley or a bus or putting up this, that, and other. Then they'll, of course, sheetrock will fall down over in other places. So it looks like professional job, all that stuff, but it don't make no difference. And they'll sit right in here and look at you, and they'll have a look. Since I tell them all the time, they try to improve it. But I used to call him Ibn Kloon. It's Ibn Kloon. It's just funny, being funny. Ibn, son of a clown. Kloon, we're pretending that that's the Arabic pronunciation of clown. Ibn Kloon. They have nothing to do with nothing. But Ibn Kloon is son of a clown. In other words, or the clown's sons, or the sons of clowns, something like that. And they act like that. They act like that all the time. So, but they're a great comfort. Another thing that's a great comfort is when you have the government have solidified your daughters. That's wonderful. You said, that's terrible. Absolutely not. One person in the movement is enough, me. Right? What would happen to them if they were sitting there typing all this stuff up for me and doing this, that, and other? You would be almost, just think how nice it is. No paranoia, no madness. Because see, there's a natural protection that men have for daughters, kind of like, it's kind of natural, Son, yeah, you got to fix it up yourself. But daughters, you be, kind of dug in. So it's perfect. They get all the grants, they get everything they can stand. They got them coming out of their ears. Fine. And they don't have nothing to do with me. That's wonderful, right? Maybe they didn't think that's the way I look at it, but that's the way I look at it. Everything is perfect, right? One in a movement like what we're doing is enough. Hey, that's sufficient. I mean, one in a family, the whole family is enough. Okay, so let me speed up. In this process, we're going to try to get the people to legalize drugs too, because legalizing drugs, not that we're for drugs, but if you legalize drugs, it takes all of the probable cause and it reduces the police presence, and then they have to cut back on all of that immigration, border control, all of that. You break the whole infrastructure. You break the whole infrastructure. Excuse me a second. Just one second. Salam alaikum. You know what? I'll call you back in a little while. I'm having a class right now, okay?
Oh, okay, yes, of course, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, salam alaikum.
Salam. Okay, I told you. I just said you got a call. Remember the other day? And I have to act on that. I mean, I have, just like what I said, okay, no questions asked, right? That's what I said. Hey, man, that's what you have to do it. Because that's what we said. And that's what I was, look, where we're going, ain't nobody going by themselves. And there won't be any earthly angels going along either. You know, like sinless people, right? You know what I mean? We're going to pull off, this is, since it's so comprehensive, that we have to pull off a whole new, that's what we're doing. Before I forget, there's just one thing I just have to say before I forget. Now, everybody been watching. Anybody been watching these people on the TV? The Democratic thing last night. Anybody see that?
I heard certain speeches, I didn't watch it.
Right. Well, anyway, we just have to comment on it because remember we talked about that this is a drive to force people to vote. Okay. Now, just look at right now. Okay, Hanging Chads 2000, Swift Boat 2004, 2008, the Negro, before he even gets started, raises $650 million. A Negro. Okay, he raised more than that this time. Okay, so, and the Negro has no history, no contact with the original civil rights struggle. And when he was even pretending with Reverend Wright was talking about, what he was talking about, the dope. Goddamn America, and the police bringing drugs into, which everybody know, right? And you should have heard that boy. You think Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers and them can dance, and Bojangles and them. This boy here slid over here. He did the Michael Jackson, and then he moonwalked, and pretty soon he was in the presidency, right? I'm just saying. Then after he's finished, now white folks are so mean and stupid. They could have sold ice to Eskimos, tell the truth. When they put the Negro in, post-racism, all the stuff jumping up and down, the Germans, I mean, it was just when he was running, it was 235,000 Germans, all white folks, jumping up and down and wanted to meet him over there in Berlin. They had it going on. But putting him in was part of the script, but the part of the script that wasn't scripted was the inbred racism of these people that wouldn't allow him to pull off nothing. Right? I mean, they were just saying, oh, no, you ain't going to get it. And talk about the Supreme Court, with the Supreme Court justice died a year before, right? Remember the last Supreme Court justice died a year before he was going out. And they ain't had nothing to say about nothing. No, we ain't gonna do that. We just gonna wait till the next guy come in. Okay, now, what I want to say is about this stuff. Is a kind of a determinator. It's Al-Furqan, but not our Al-Furqan. It determines where the society is at. Elections are a measuring stick. Elections are a measuring stick. And let me try to explain it. Right now, you could tell that everything Donald Trump do, there's no learning curve, right? So he's doing everything on purpose. And everything is outlandish. It's like it's never been done before. Everybody know the old folks get all their stuff from the post office, right? And out in the woods, and they put a post office general, whoever it was, he got stock in something else, right? He got stock in one of the, I don't know, what other people that drive stuff by here. And everybody know it, right? So they're going to have the voting. Then they're going to get rid of all the fast count, them super counting machines. They count a zillion things and have them sorted right away. Just run off with them. So they take all of them, and then they was doing it around here. They took half the mailboxes, right? But they're taking them right before the election. And you know, the only thing that's in the Constitution specifically is a mail service. It's constitutional. They have to have that. It's, you know. So I just had to watch it. I say I'm not going to watch it, but then I broke down last night and I was watching because I have to, and I said, good God Almighty. So what they're doing is they're forcing the people to vote. You got to vote. If you don't vote, this man that's doing all that we letting him do. Right? Tell the truth. They letting him do all that. If you don't vote, the whole thing is to get people to vote, to get invested in the system. If you don't vote, this boy is going to be back. Boy, look at here. If you thought he was acting a fool or showing his behind, the first go round, you let him get in the second go round. And then you can see him forcing people to vote. Oh, no mail's going to get there on time. No voting things is going to get there on time. And there was a voting scheme where 3 people up in Idaho somewhere, you know, got an extra ballot and stuff. So but it's forcing people to vote. People saying, and their whole line is, don't stay home. You get out and vote. Don't take no chances. You get out and vote. Bernie Sanders is on that. Peace and love. Go vote. We don't care what you got. All of my folks, y'all go vote. You got to go vote. And the dictator from California, the little, oh no, dictadora, the lady, huh? Kamala, whatever her name was. That was the attorney general. That girl said, all parents, if your kids don't go to school, we're going to put y'all in the penitentiary. Good God Almighty. That's Hitler. That's, look, man, when you talking about she's progressive, I got paperwork still with her name on it because she was Attorney General Kamala Harris. I said, good God Almighty. She was at Howard when yeah. Look, that girl, you gotta, whatever you have to sign, they sign it and then they do it. And all the people on the thing done signed that Barack Obama, Miss Obama, whatever her name was, right? All of them they all on the team. They gotta be on the team. All the Negroes that's against us, they all on the team. How can all of this be? That all of this fanfare and nothing is happening? How could it be all these lectures on every university campus? What's all of them? Chris Hedges, the little scarf wearing man. What's his name? Cornell West. All these big professors, right? Noam Chomsky. They've been teaching, Noam Chomsky he done turned geriatric on the thing. Noam Chomsky I know since 66. And he's been telling the truth. But what the hell is, all them people can't get together and do nothing? All the big time imams, right? Jumping up and down at all these seminars all over America. And they don't do nothing. Nothing gets done. That's not an accident. That's perfect design. That means whoever designed that, they thought about that. And it's been working perfect up till now. Not only has it been working perfect, but our challenge is a perfect challenge. We're not challenging it with anger, meanness, get evenness. We're offering people, hey, just, cooperate a little bit. No questions asked. Damn, what do people want? I mean, no, just like the phone call, don't worry, no questions asked. Nobody's stupid, but I mean, that comes from, the Quran says, cover your brother's faults. That's what it says. Cover them up. Hide, yeah, people. Don't go around, it don't take nobody to go around and tell everything that everybody do. Only time we tell on people is to stay alive. Not to stay alive, but just, that if something happened to us right now, any research at all in Oakland, on property, on anything, it would open up the door. And as usual, they got somebody planted somewhere that's their job to tell the story. Example, everybody thinks Media, Pennsylvania, 1971, was the white folks breaking in the FBI office up there and getting all the information and spreading it all over the world. Huh? No, the Pentagon Papers what's the name, wrote the Pentagon Papers. But all the COINTEL program and all that came from the FBI office in Media, Pennsylvania. It was a group of white folks broke in there and got it out. Now, we all knew it was bad stuff going on, but they got it wrote down exactly the whole, okay. J. Edgar Hoover had mental problems. He had girl problems, boy problems and all kind of stuff, And so he wasn't balanced. And one of the things that he used to do when they killed John Dillinger back in the 30s, he showed up on the scene, and he was a G-man, and the FBI had, in those days, only white males that looked a certain way could play FBI agents. They had a contract with Hollywood. You came to da-da-da-da. He built the image of the FBI. He built the image for himself. 1971. Everybody know the movement is dead then. Suppose he want to tell everybody, this is just what we did. He have the white folks break in their own office, right? With all the papers there to tell everybody, and the niggas, this is what we did to you, because nothing ever happened to them, right? Yeah, this is what we did to you niggas. This teach you, you get to mess around again. And the other thing, when I came here, it was one person that was specific about passing out that material, so that everybody would be aware, if you do anything, you're gonna be infiltrated, sabotaged, gonna have trouble with your rent at different places, your job, Yeah, this is a guy going around passing all that out. And that's the way it was. But anyway, the last part, this what's going on now is specifically for the purpose of making everyone to vote. Just think about it. Look at it, it's simple. Voting machines, gone. No overtime. Can you imagine? The post office. And you got to treat post office people, we ain't had no stuff in a few years, but you get to treat them post office folks funny. You talking about terrorists? Go to the post office. I don't know, maybe y'all haven't heard about them, but the post office is serious. And when they go off, now suppose they go off on somebody else instead of all the workers. You talking about terrorism. Good God Almighty. Right. 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 Yeah. Right. But one thing about America depends on the post office, and me and you can go out and go somewhere, but old people sometimes, just like the news say, their medicine, right, their regular contact, and then suppose, checks, suppose they out in the country though, just imagine those people out in the country, now these big companies, they don't deliver stuff out, like if you got certain zip code and it's way out in the woods, they deliver all compact, right, all in the city, you know what I mean? Yeah, they did take all that stuff, yeah, y'all take this on out there. Okay, they're forcing people to vote. They're making them vote. All the people, you could tell it's a vote campaign. Whatever you do, vote, vote, vote. That's to get people invested in the system. Okay? And then you have to ask yourself, is it working? Of course it's working. But that shows when we say that's a criteria, that shows how much control the system has. Now, you got to remember, just look at the system. The press, they build all the images. What's this old phony guy, the Bilderberger guy? Alex Jones. Okay. Just like they build a nigga up, a big dope dealer, and said, we're going to put all the kingpins in prison. They ain't seen no white folks go to all the kingpins as niggas, right? They build them up, they blame everything on them, and they send them off to the penitentiary with a lot of time. So the downfall is already written into the rising up. It's already written in. Okay, now you have to think about the media, the news, the people on the news, right? The interviewers and the people that's interviewed. They're all on the team, right? They all on the script. Everybody, can you imagine? That tells you, if they're talking about that's fake news. Yeah, fake news, because they didn't design it to be fake news, and they fake too. And then they have a movie star, not a movie star. What's some kind of people that do what Don was doing, you know. Reality, all that jump, just like the people jumping off in the woods and eating tigers and eating raw meat and stuff like that. That's what he do. They put him on there because he can do all of that. He's a professional actor. Well, he's a bad actor, but to play, Ronald Reagan was a bad actor. But playing president, he played it so good that he run the Russians crazy. Run Gorbachev crazy, just because he was playing. Gorbachev was real, and Gorbachev's reality couldn't match that man's playing. I'm telling you, okay, look at it. Look at all of us. Look at everybody you see. The news commentators, do they ever ask any questions about that's real and that would be talking about the other side? How many people happen to be on Iran's side? No, if Iran is bad, Iran is bad. With all of them. If China is bad, today China good, 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 like China reminds me of Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein, good man, good man, good man. Right in the middle of the stream, butcher of Baghdad, butcher of Baghdad. Nobody got off the horse, nobody changed cars, just right away, butcher of Baghdad. Right? Can you imagine? That's the power the thing has. We're dealing with a real live monster. We're very fortunate people. We're fortunate. We get treated, I don't even call it bad compared to what everybody else get. In Yemen, they blasting people. Hey man, their children are dying, all of that. In Iran, they're not starving to death. And everywhere else, man, these people are really getting it. Our allies are getting it, but they're holding up. These people, and here we are having a love everybody campaign, and we mean it. That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay. Vote. Project manager, get out the vote campaign. The whole Democratic convention was about that. Vote. The Republican convention will be the same thing. We got to vote to get rid of those. That if they get rid of me, I've helped America.
That was actually the reason I missed a lot of the DNC speeches was because I was listening to Don give his talk. He gave his talk at the same time.
At an airport somewhere?
At an airport, yeah. So I listened to his talk, and his speech while the DNC was saying that was, he said that if we lose in November, it's because they cheated.
Yeah, they cheated. Imagine a president. Imagine. And then he talk about, suppose somebody talk about, and I may not leave, I may not go. This is ridiculous. He can do anything he wants. And he can do that, and nobody, if Obama would have did that, they'd be whooping him upside the head on the way out. They would have him just like two people jumped over the fence down there at different times, remember? Obama was doing something wrong, they jumped over the fence, and then somebody told me one got on the elevator with a gun. Now, I don't believe it, but that's what they said. And so he gonna look around at the people taking care of him, and they didn't send him a message. You can do what you want, homeboy. There's your wife, there's your children, there's everything you love is there. So you better get back in line. And when can somebody come from Israel, old Netanyahu, and go before the Congress and talk about him and get standing ovation after ovation? It's unbelievable. And he ain't did nothing but the JCO, whatever it is, Joint Comprehensive Plan Action. Yes.
Is that particular speech, is that that speech with, I always see that picture of Netanyahu with that goofy looking bomb illustration?
He putting a bomb, no, with the little bomb, no, that was at the UN.
All right, that was something else, all right.
No, that was at the UN. You could tell it wasn't Congress because the UN have that greenish background. So anytime that was at the UN. But it's the same thing. Iran, hate Iran. Now, they gave him his chance to do Iran and to do China. So back and forth, they bring in the Democrats and say, well, we just like Biden said, oh, don't you worry. If we come back, we're going to put that JCP over there. After they done almost run the people crazy, you know what I mean? So they gave him, he had his time to do what he was supposed to do. Probably the first 3 years, they're saying, just cut loose, you know. And he just bluffing and talking. Every time it come close to a war, when Iran shot down that thing, that was $1 zillion, one of the biggest drones they had. He said, well, I didn't want to hurt nobody. I didn't want to kill 57 people. Just think he said that. This lying MF, that's him. I didn't want to hurt nobody. Then when Iranians shot back at that base over there after Soleimani, you could tell that him and Zarif and them that they had worked something out, because everything is all right. We feel good about everything, you know. And he ain't gonna do nothing to nobody. He just bluffing. Okay. So anyway, we'll try to pick up a little bit. Okay. So this thing on project management, I mean the project for the houses, anybody can fix up. You don't have to sign up for nothing, just to get busy. The car is the same thing. I got the key. Anybody want to call a tow truck and have them take it anywhere they want, they can do it. I'm not going to do it. And I'm not going to do it for a long time, because if they can do that and get away with it, and I respond to it, then they're just having fun, you know what I mean? Just messing with somebody. So, and the other thing is that if everybody else get involved, then that means the system will see that this person is not by themselves anymore, because other people are participating. So remember, societal management, image management, they control the image of everybody. And all the Muslims are like that too. Control the information highway. Can you imagine all the information that's getting to everybody? They control it. They're controlling all of that. They select the actors and actresses, just like you want to play the part, they're playing parts, you know. And right now, it's not only Donald Trump playing the part, Michelle Obama playing the part, the woman out there, Kamala Harris, is playing a part. And one day she's the bad guy, the villain. We're gonna put all them niggas in jail. Y'all going to jail. Forget about all that. And the next day she's playing another part, the savior, the heroine, just like Hollywood. And they be playing it just like, oh, this is okay. They don't, like when they change parts in Hollywood, they don't have no carryover from the other thing, like I played a good guy last time and now I'm playing. There's no explanation about all that, right? So the same thing when they lying and stealing and putting everybody in jail. I mean, the hanging judge, worse than Judge Roy Bean, they putting the people away. The penitentiary is full right now in California from her. But now, she's, yeah, but now, yes, but she's now the savior of black women and Asian women, and she can touch every, I said, boy, they be pulling it. They touch every base. They got Chinamans, they got Pacific Islanders, they got everybody. Since mama was walking on the beach with her granddaddy, and whatever that was, it's fine. And she went to Howard, all the niggas, and she got a corner or something in it because the Jamaicans and what's the names down in Florida. Yeah, all the island. If she touched this girl, now me and you got a couple of bases we can touch. This girl can touch any base made. Right? That girl can touch, well, you know, her mama was Indian, but the Indians had 2% something else, so they say she got this too. Then her daddy was Jamaican, yeah, Jamaican, but some Jamaicans remember Bob Marley, he had a white father, so she has something other, and her name is Harris, and Kamala from India, Kamala, Pamela, the kids call her Mamala. Social activists. Not because I'm from Oakland, but there's one thing I ain't never seen is none of her parents. Nowhere. Never. I never even heard of them. Social activists. But that's what she can claim. Yeah. And her first job was a DA. Social activist, putting people in jail. That is social activism. You stop everybody's social development, put them in jail. Okay, social management, stuff, Select actors, set the perimeters of discussion. The perimeters of all discussion, you know, they set them. The questions and all that, the questioners, the participants, they set the perimeters of the argument. Yeah, they whatever they're gonna argue about, they set it. Okay. Alex Jones start hour. Alex Jones is one of them boys, just like he might as well have been a big Negro. He gets set up to be big, to tell all of what he's gonna say, which is mixtures of truth and lies. See, he's going to tell a lot of the truth and a lot of the lies. Now, there's the old saying of this father had 3 sons, and he said, this one, you don't have to worry about him, because he always tells the truth. And the other one, you don't have to worry about him, because he's a liar. He lies all the time. So you don't have to worry about him. But this one here, he mixes truth and falsehood. That's the one you got to be careful of. Because okay, so now you look at Alex Jones, 9/11, this, that, and another. It's a kernel of truth in it. But all the other stuff that people are fake, all them crying people about the poor little kids up there, those people are real. But that's fake. And he got a lot of these crackers believing, right? So all they got to do is lift him up and lift him up, not to forget we gained a lot of experience some 20 years ago with all of these. The government put out some truth mixed with falsehood, but they give the people the challenge, like when they make an assertion, oh, it was this happened and it was that happened, right? And the people follow that line. Okay, but they give them the anecdote to their people, the counter argument. Some of what they say, tell them is the truth. And some of what they say, they have a big opening. One of the things was about the destruction of the building. It had some, not graphite, but some thing with ice in it, that it burns. And that was true. Because the building, I was in Tehran. Is it thermite?
I think they use that in
Controlled demolitions, yeah. Okay. Well, one thing about it is controlled demolition. That part is no doubt about it. The building don't fall over, it don't do nothing. It comes straight down, both of them. And what about the other building, 44 or something? Building 7. Whoosh. Nothing hit it, it just come down. Okay, so, okay, we got a lot to go with. So they got to build up, they got to get their story out there. The first thing was a few of the people was from Saudi Arabia, but not 15 of them from Saudi Arabia. And the only place people could leave America and go back to, that was Saudi Arabia. Okay. They took money from people from Iranian accounts and gave it to 9/11 people accounts. They never show those 9/11 people. They don't show those Flight 800 people. You remember Flight 800? That missile hit that boy, the Egyptian air. Hey man, they done had too many things. And pretty soon they get real quiet and they get squashed. Okay. I'm not gonna go into Alex Jones, but Alex Jones is just a big buffoon, and he's a straw man to set up that they get to beat him to death and break him down, and they can destroy half the stuff he said. The mind control is true. The mind control is true, but it's mixed in with all that other stuff. All they got to do is debunk 1 or 2 or 4 or 5 things, and it debunks everything else. That's why we've always been cautious. No matter how extravagant we sound, we always can go back to the paper and say, this is what we said. You can't take us farther than what we wanted to go. And science fiction management, we waited 10 years before we even said anything about it, but this is the way we felt all the time. But we had to wait to history to catch up. Why? Because we're not going to give you the opportunity to debunk nothing we say. You see what I mean? That's very important. That they don't get a chance to debunk nothing we say. And anything that they say, we got 500 or 600 things in reserve, and we'll throw 10 of them out. So what you think about that then, if you're so bad? And then anything else they say, we're gonna. So we keep in reserve over history, over time. It's just built up a reserve, but I'm gonna pick up a little bit. Control the airways. We ain't gonna go into Professor Griff, Black Lives Matters and all of that. We believe 90% of this stuff is stage managed. Society is managed. And the whole thing, and we'll talk about it later on the next go-round, is to get out and vote. Are there any questions, any comments about anything that we've said? But our next program will repeat things like focus on the future, our property, da-da-da-da, what we gonna say to our friends, FBI records, mean, freedom of information and all of that. Not only freedom of information with the FBI, with the city, the county, and our property all along MacArthur Boulevard, we're gonna bring all of that up too. In other words, we're gonna popularize the things that's been happening in the world, and we'll close with the drug war on white folks, opiates, and what have you. Because, see, we got the white folks now, too. With the Second Amendment and with opiates, it's clear, like, oh, so you're mad at us? You think well, how many factories did we send overseas? Find me a factory that niggas sent overseas to China. Who sent them to China? And then you got Don there. You like Don? I'm not gonna call y'all stupid, but Don is from a different class than y'all. Don got 51 cases in the court, at least had. And all of them were by white men like you guys, wealthier than most of them. Like they were, say, millionaire contractors, but not big millionaires. They had a good construction company. Don had them hook this up. And they hook it up, and Don don't pay them. They go to court. So they owe Don owe them $20 million. So, well, I'll give you 3 or 4. That won't even cover our costs. Even we had Polish workers paying them $4 an hour, something like that. Can you imagine? They talking about exploitation, and they got white folks, they paying $5 an hour in modern time. That means all of them are sleeping in one room together and all eating 1 pot of beans per day, finished, and Don won't pay them. That's brutality. We have to tell white folks that, because the other news is letting Alex Jones and them tell it to white folks, and they sprinkling salt and pepper and all that garbage in there. We ain't gonna have it. We got a good mission. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions? Some who?
Some new comments.
Oh, okay, yeah.
From Sunday. Brother said, this is the brother that was asking you about the China questions and stuff. He had said after we had finished class, I saw this later. He said, Musa, we go way back, met you through Doc, 1964.
Good God Almighty.
He said you was a vegetarian then.
I was a vegetarian.
You blues music.
That's right, I love blues.
Doc came and got you from the joint yesterday. Say, last time I saw you at UCLA, my brother Wallace had returned.
Yeah. That's
Rashad, that's his name.
Yeah.
He converted. People he was saying that his brother converted to Islam and he gave him a Muslim burial. He said, I met your father who brought me to your house in 1970. He said, we talk later. I guess he'll reach out.
Yeah.
I saw that one.
Yeah, shoot, that's the old crew there. That's Wallace them. Man, that's back in the day. I mean, way back in the day. Yeah. Is there anything else that that was?
Nothing else new with Khadija,
Oh, Khadijah and them is fine. It's not that they don't count, but they don't count. I mean, in reality. But it's good to have them around just to, they're not going to affect anything. They don't affect anything we do. And you might want a little excitement. And, there's one thing I'd like to mention about this stuff. One of the reasons we keep certain things around, let's call it self-stimulation. Like, for instance, if the boss man is not doing anything to us in particular, right? So that means you might get a little, it's like you don't have a fight coming up, But if you have little tune-up fights all the time, you stay on your job. You stay sharp, in other words. Okay, the other thing too is the people that's doing things to you, they don't get bigger. Like you lifting weights. I think I used that last week. They stacking weights on the bar. You lifting them. You getting stronger. They're just putting weights on them. They're just doing things, putting weights. Now, you lifting and lifting. And when you can't, you just go up as far as you can, set it down, go up. Pretty soon, you get stronger. No matter what you do, those actions cause you to get stronger and stronger. They don't. They don't get sharper and they don't get stronger. They're working for the government. And anybody that tells you about government, you might get 35 years of experience. But a government worker gets 1 year of experience 35 times. Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to be, you just, because it's not, and it's like you do what you're told. You're not juiced up, you know what I mean? You're not fired up, you know what I mean? And you almost can't fire yourself up. That's the people we got to help. That's the main one we got to help. We got to help them. There's whole classes of people we have to help. That's what's making us different from all the other movements. And with Allah's help, that's why we're still here now. Because we didn't go bad. We didn't go bad. We didn't go bitter. We didn't go, we didn't go south. That's a healing. People don't do that. They go south, they get depressed, they quit, they do something. But they don't keep doing it. They don't keep doing this. There's nobody on record that I know of, right, that keeps just cranking it out like we do. They don't do that. So that's a blessing. Are there any more questions or comments? Okay, if not, alhamdulillah. But we'll come back in a few days. I don't know whether we should come back Thursday or not. Well, we'll see. Inshallah.